right now. Sonic Wave is there, it's getting lower and lower.
Oh!
They've stolen it! Mammoth have got the Baron!
A heated matchup to kick off the evening. And we got another one coming up right now. It's Chiefs looking to stay undefeated up against Kanga. And my God, Kanga, they were looking pretty good yesterday. From what we've seen, they are impressing, but they just are unable to get those wins on the board. And Chiefs, it's going to be another big ask, but Rusty's got his finger up.
Yeah, we'll start with Kanga.
Yep.
Because yesterday they almost got perfect gamed by order. So
yes,
I know what you're saying. There's moments where they've looked good. They have been incredibly shaky. And yesterday was the perfect example of that one. It was very rough out here.
And Order were playing nuts yesterday, so you can't
absolutely
really fault them. They're still trying to find their feet with, you know, their lineup with the chemistry. And Skimmy, I feel like that mid lane wasn't where it was going to be won yesterday. Chungy was having a rough one. Where are we looking to today if Kanga are going to have a chance?
Probably in the mid lane again, to be honest, in my opinion. I feel like Chungy is that player that is so omnipotent. He really will play anything. So I like the Veigar in principle.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be hard-pressed to see him look to try and find an angle for that kind of champion again, right? Like, he will look for things like the Veigar, like the Malzahar, like the Ahri. Give him anything, really. He'll play to fit the mold that the team needs. So he can be the carry, he can play the side lanes, he can be the bully. That is just very annoying, right? You've got to play that tax to try and get out of the CC. So I feel like Chungy offers a lot to this team. He's got a few years of experience now under his belt, and feels like a little bit repetitive with this tone, but I feel like we're very stacked in OS with these mid-jungle combos.
Yeah, it seems like a battle of the mid-jungles all the damn time, which makes it that much harder. And speaking of mid-jungle, Chiefs, they've got a pretty good mid-jungle as well, don't they, Russ?
Yeah, they absolutely do. I mean, the entirety of Chiefs, they've got a good. Yeah, that's just good.
Yeah, here.
This is going to be one of those games, and I feel for Kanga a little bit, right? They played against Order, they're straight into the Chiefs. Like, congratulations, you didn't just lose, you're now against a terrifying team to behold. And yesterday, you know, for Chiefs, it was against Gravitas. It wasn't the cleanest game from them. We did mention a couple times, their top side was not ideal. Dragku even in the interview said as much, but like, just let Raze and me carry, we'll put in the work, and they did, right? Raze went crazy, Dragku supported him exceptionally with that Tahm Kench pick. The top side, as questionable as they were, it doesn't matter because they can carry in every lane at any time that is required, and that is why we're calling them a super team.
Yeah, they're just looking good everywhere, no matter where you watch. They're just running around, winning games in the first 5 minutes of the game. Tapoon, absolutely nuts. Now, let's see if he can do that again today. Of course, Kanga, look, lived. He's pretty good in the top lane, but he's also had a couple of rough days at the office. Will that change today, Skip?
I mean, it's a tall benchmark, isn't it, right? You take on Biopanther, and he kind of got beat up there. And if you think Biopanther's tough, he's like the little brother, really, to Tapoon. Tapoon just comes out the gates and says, you know, why are you dealing with my family in that kind of fashion, right? Just comes out, he is the golden standard, like we kind of said. He'll make you hate playing the game. They're just superstars across the board. I feel like Liv, though, is a really strong player individually. Definitely the most improved top laner of last split. And I feel like if there's ever a tall ask, like a night and day switch for them to review and say, what is our plan of attack into a very strong team, then Liv is certainly an area that you'd be putting focus in, whether that be only playing towards his side, whether that be them getting plates or heralds to try and knock down turrets early on. So, yeah, I feel like Liv is definitely a really strong point that they could rely on.
Yeah, a really strong point indeed. And I believe we're going to get to chat with him. Kitty in particular is going to be doing that, bringing the banter in the last post-match. He's also got a pre-game interview here for us going into match number 2.
For the pre-game interview, I've grabbed Lived and Tally for today. So, hey guys, how are you feeling? It's really, really hot. Hope you are staying hydrated. But starting with Lived, you guys played against Order last night with quite the bot side gap. Kevy got really fed on the Evelyn, which ended up impacting the map quite a lot. So was there an issue in comms, or are you just still getting used to each other?
Yeah, I mean, we're obviously still getting used to each other and each other's champ pool, so I think it was a little bit of a draft gap yesterday. I think we're still trying to figure out what to play together, but I think in the long run, I think it'll go pretty well.
And you guys got to have Chungy on the anime train. Anyways, so previously you were on Chiefs in 2020. How does it feel to verse an old teammate? And do you have anything to say to Draku?
Yeah, I mean, Draku is definitely like I gained a lot of respect from last year. He's like pretty insane player. I think he's like learned a lot, especially role swapping from top to support. But I mean, I've got to like destroy his anime dreams as well. He's also into the anime, but I think I'm a more advanced anime watcher, so I think I've got to win this one for the boys.
So speaking about anime, what anime are you watching, Tally?
I mean, what are we watching? Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer are currently running the world, and like, if you're not watching them, like, what are you doing?
Attack on Titan episode was goddamn nuts. I lost my mind.
I haven't seen it. No spoilers. Okay.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
No spoilers. No spoilers. So Tally, congrats on being undefeated so far with a few close calls, especially the match against Gravitas. Why was there a hiccup in the mid lane 2v2 against Gravitas? Was there a miscommunication or just a bit of trolling?
Well, I mean, I would say it was like a mix of like miscommunication, and I think we're doing a bit of like towing the line between like having too much fun and not being as serious as we should be. So I think that like we really gotta like pull ourselves together on stage, because a lot of our performances are not like up to par, not up to the standard that I think that we should be performing at.
Yeah, and so we obviously saw PGG have two really rough games, except for last game because Praetor absolutely popped off. With us going into week 2, which team is looking like a strong contender for playoffs?
I think that like based on what we've seen so far in 2 weeks, that like Order has been the most consistent team. I think us and PGG, like as the other like 2 top teams, I would consider like we've shown a lot of like weakness in like early and like how we throw our leads. I think Order has been a pretty consistent roster. Whereas like I'm not too worried about like I just consider like the rest of the season to be just like, if we keep working hard, like it's like we'll achieve our goal regardless.
And speaking of consistent, I am not consistent on my anime watching, so thanks for the interview, guys. Best of luck in your match, and let's head it back to Mac.
Thank you.
Awesome. See ya.
We have a very important game about to unfold, and they're just chilling, having a chat about anime, what's good, what's not good, not even focused on the matter at hand. But I guess that's what makes them professionals, right? You can switch off and then switch on at any given moment, and that's why they're here in the LCO. But also, good to hear from them. They're both lovely chums, aren't they?
Yeah, they're buddies, aren't they? I feel like if we're talking anime meta, then they're on the money.
They really are. Now, let's talk predictions as well. Of course, we gotta quickly have a chat about them before we jump on in.
Oh, good,
and
Mac. Good.
Yes, Kanga. I love them. I'm an big only fan, and I would love to see him get a W on the board. Another one. Chiefs, they were looking rocky yesterday, but Tally did mention that in the interview, that they are trying to find the line between doing a little bit of trolling, having too much fun, and then taking it too serious. And I know if Chiefs do put their foot down and play this seriously, then Kanga have not much of a shot at all. But I'm relying on it being a hot day, them taking it not seriously, and it's all good. Either way, look, Skimmy, why have you gone for the Chiefs? Is it just super team bias?
Nah, I mean, their stats are just phenomenal at the moment. They've never, ever, in any of their games, been behind in gold. So they start strong, they snowball, and then they crush. So they're always like 1, sometimes even 2 items ahead of their lane counterparts. They're just insane. And when we've seen a meta that has like a lot of these late game scaling champions like the Corki, the Victor, and so on, it just feels like, you know, we can draft those, but we'll just look strong in the early game too. So I feel like that's a real terror to deal with. If you can't beat them early, then you're definitely not going to beat them late.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Kitty, what's your thoughts on this matchup?
Well, obviously we saw a very strong performance from both Raze and Draku, so if it's going to be a gap anywhere, I think it's going to be a gap in the bot lane.
I think that gap is, yeah, I haven't really enjoyed what I've seen so far from Lionel and Lemus. I know that they are probably capable of some good things, but so far they just haven't hit the mark that I've wanted to see them hit. So hopefully today's the day. It'd be nice if it was, but look, Draku and Raze down there, it's just going to be so difficult. It's just such a tough matchup for them. If Kanga have a chance, Rusty, what are we looking at? Is it that mid-jungle hoping they pop off?
I mean, yeah, I feel. I mean, only probably has to brain on them, right? Like, only has to go crazy, 5-head jungle pathing, put the LCK caliber jungler Arthur just in the bin somehow, and find that angle. Because I mean, we saw Balkan last game. Very different to Arthur in the way that they execute and play League of Legends. It's a bit more slow-paced, cerebral, full clear style league from Arthur. Much more calculated, where Balkan is actually just nuking the map. He's just a lethal weapon. So hard to do, but if anyone could, it'd be only.
Well, let's see if he's going to be able to do it, because Champ Select is ready for match 2 of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, strap yourselves in. It's going to be a banger.
It certainly will be. Let's do it. Let's load ourselves in here for Champ Select for game number 2 of only week 2. We've already got people talking about playoffs and what that could entail. It's early days, but it doesn't matter. Hey, there is the victor. It has finally happened, and we said at
Hey,
the
we
top
said
of
it'd
the
be
show,
Tally, didn't we?
who would it be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
That's
Let's
awesome.
go. We're actually killing this pre-game predictions and what we want from the draft changes, aren't we? That's good. Also,
Absolutely.
the Senna. There was one thing I was going to say before this game started, Skimmy, is that you probably don't want Raze to have Senna. I was watching some streams last night from O's solo queue, and Raze was unstoppable.
Yeah.
It was very gross. So I think that's a big respect takeaway. No doubt that Limas and Leona should be practicing their bot lanes with Senna together regardless. The question is what goes with it. Because I will say this, while it is going to be a Leona confirmed, there is a big part of me that wishes it wasn't. We know that Lionel's a former AD carry player. He could be the Senna. We also know that he could just play a carry oddball champion, right? Weird champs ready for him. Was to stop a Senna Heimerdinger? You know what I mean? Like,
I'm so glad you brought that up. I saw Hov and I was like, is he just paying homage to him of old, of last year, where that was the pocket pick, right? The Soraka, yet to see these enchanters really come into the fold of things in LCO. These support players have been very much more interested. Sure, we got the Lulu, but taken out of the equation for a second, it's been very much all about Leona, Nautilus, and the Fresh. So that would have been refreshing, but they have gone for this instead.
Yeah, I think so far the Chiefs composition makes a lot of sense. You've got the Twisted Fate, you've got the Corki both being banned on the red side here. They prioritize their mid lane at first with the Victor. The response is there from the Orianna. Works well with the Senna, but I think going for the Leona third when you had so much flexibility, I would call personally a miss. Because I do think that if you wanted a Jarvan style composition, which to be perfectly clear, Skimmy, you're into a Victor, you're into a Jinx, you pick Jarvan third, you then ban things like the Thresh, right? You ban supports that help keep their AD carries alive. I think that would have been a sick composition from Kanga, but they really put that extra priority under their support pick, and so you kind of have to still ban supports, but it feels a little bit more awkward to me because Chiefs can actually ban the Jarvan, they can ban the Viego. They've basically said you're playing Lee Sin.
My point exactly, right? They've taken pretty much the only champions out of the equation very early on and said it's going to be a Lee Sin, but do you even want to play it? Is that the kind of composition you want? Is it going to be the Ori ball delivery? And you just hope, you just pray that you get a kill with that.
Yeah, you can, right? Other options, I guess you could consider a Nocturne angle, right? Something like that. Maybe the Rek'Sai setup. It's not like a full teamfight spec, but these are other like AD champions that might still work. If you're looking for things that can get inside the Xin and cause issues, it's Trundle. So,
good point.
I think if I was Kanga, it probably is a Trundle angle. And I think with the locking in of Rel, it actually stocks Rise on that Trundle. So we'll see. We'll see.
Well, it was good bans there from Kanga to at least remove away the Tahm Kench and Allure to make this Jinx nowhere near as protected as it would have been. It's going to be our second Rel of the season. First one was played by Rogue, but this is a pick that we saw a lot of out of Draku last year. There is the Trundle. It is being hovered. There's a lot of AD for it to find value with for sure.
Yeah, there's also like now the Rel has to go Glacial, you would expect, right? For it to be an efficient Rel into the Trundle. Otherwise it just dies. Especially a Rel that dismounts after the full engage. That would absolutely be dead to rights. We'll see how they play this one out for their Rune choices. The Trundle to me was the expected choice. The stocks were steadily rising. What goes with it, however, because it is lived with champion in hand, it's blind. I'd say you'd look at, I was going to say Graves is the most likely blind. Jace is actually a champion that I almost put in that top 4, Skimmy, for the start of the day discussion, because it is being seen a lot in the LEC as like a blind-ish top lane option when Renekton is banned. However, as you're seeing with this hover, Skimmy, Jace picked what's to stop the Malphite, because it is a free lane oftentimes until you get through the very early stages. A little bit of armor, a very happy Malphite.
Yeah, Tapoon gonna say I can play pretty much anything. But Malphite is my duty here today. Gonna soak up a storm and prevent this Jace really from getting out of control. It is worth noting that there was once upon a time where Lived actually played a top lane Trundle. He was the only person last year to play it, but it wouldn't really work in this scenario.
Yeah, not with the inflexibility of the Jace, right? Maybe if you go for Trundle Graves, you flex, right? And that could be the surprise reveal. It was Graves jungle all along. It's not going to be a winning jungle matchup, but you'll be, full clearing, just hard farming your way through, and then top lane suddenly becomes winning. It's certainly possible that that was an option, but this time around they have gone for the Jace. How Jace works with their composition is yet to be seen. It's not a full poke comp. Senna and Jace can kind of do that. Orianna definitely cannot. It feels to me as though Jace is just going to be a side lane pressure point into the fight, V5 team fighting, if that were to happen. Also, flank angles definitely still possible from him there, because the name of this game is to kill the Victor and kill the Jinx, and all of their damage goes away on the side of the Chiefs. It is 2 low mobility carries, and the only support is genuinely just a bunch of meatballs standing in front of you, right? Lots of engage, lots of damage soak, but no actual peel. It is self-sufficient. I mean, Victor and Jinx can be self-sufficient if they get excited. So still all on execution in my eyes.
They definitely have a lot of mobility built into their kit, but it does rely on the cycling of good positioning to really allow that to come on through, right? As you say, Kanga have a team composition that can look to punish. Will they get given the opportunities to do so? Kanga coming into this one up against the hotly tipped favourites, you'd have to say right now. Chiefs undisputed, tied in first, 3-0. Really has been the perfect start.
Certainly has been a very nice start for the Chiefs so far, and we'll get in the interview soon, Skimmy, I would imagine, but a lot of early moves so far.
Certainly a lot of good moves. As we do get into the interview, we welcome back once again Chiefs Kuden. Welcome back to the show. You've had a really strong start to the season. You've actually got the strongest early game in the league right now. I was mentioning to Mac, you've never ever been behind in gold. So what would you really attribute this to?
Yeah, that's an easy one. The Chiefs have one of the best, if not the best coach in the world. And also, in scrims, he has a strategy. If anyone makes one mistake or any mistakes, they don't get dinner, pretty much. So yeah, no one
it's
wants
as simple
to
as
make
that.
mistakes.
So, and I'm sure Drag, you probably most of anybody, right? He needs the gains, so he's just playing out of his mind.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
Well, I want to ask a quick, small question to add to that. I saw on Twitter before you guys are going to get a brand new gaming house very shortly. You guys excited for that one?
Of course, who wouldn't be excited getting a new house?
You'll be
Old house being desecrated. Desecrated.
I see you guys are going to be moving into a gaming mansion. Hey, we're going to crack on with this one, Kuden. It's a pleasure as always, meant to talk to you.
Yeah, what's up?
No food. That's all it takes.
It's a threat. A big thank you for Kuden for his interview and for blessing my ears with what was basically a fan-forced oven being put in there between words. Nevertheless, it's always good to get that insight. Arthur, he actually resets the red buff there, so was very aware that the Leona was starting to roam. I don't know if that red actually being reset was visible from only, just as timing happens there at the jungle. But either way, it will deter the Xin. You could see Ori also with priority in mid, so it is just going to be his full jungle. He's going to go red to red. So if you're just catching up and you were listening to the interview, not paying attention, Only is going to steal the enemy red, protect his own red buff with priority from those lanes. Or with first move, not priority, let's be more specific. Lionel sacrifices a bit of experience to walk there first. All about protecting only, and that's something that we really wanted, right? We want to see the big brain jungle plays, and jungle gap is team gap. For anyone that has experienced League of Legends themselves, just saw why.
Yeah, we're starting to see it more and more, aren't we, in these games of sort of how much they can determine the outcome and allow the rest of these guys to look as good as they have been. Let's see what it translates into, though. Nice little punish like that. Will that mean we go for anything towards the crabs? As it stands, though, it looks like they will just take one apiece.
Yeah, I mean, generally it'll be fine, right? Arthur was super vigilant. He gets pushed back and just spends that time immediately going back to clear the rest of his jungle camps on the bot side. Scuttle Crab in the top side camp clear, or reset in the top side, depending on what he's after. He's also going to perhaps look for a ward as his ward is available at the Raptors before that. reset, we'll see. Because right now he's just on vision. And you kind of have to assume, if you were Arthur, that there was going to be vision there. They made very active moves to deter you. It's actually going to be Krug camp towards bot side as flashes.
Tapoon with the... It's just a fadeaway. Is this how the matchup's working, or is Tapoon literally the best player in the league?
I mean, there is a bit of variance in that lane, but it's a corrupting pot into a Jace. That probably isn't a death that should ever happen. Malphite, I think that was 2 points in queue with a Comet. That's basically the way that you want to play that one out, as Lionel.
Here we go, Draco jumping in. There's Zenithblade to turn things around, but he locks him in place. Forces him to disengage away. That's a lot of bursts coming out.
Yeah, and now the dive threat is really there. And remember, Kanga are aware that that was possible, so you can see them being more vigilant. The assist ping was already placed in the bush. They know that the Xin was last seen at the Krug camp. It is just going to be the recall that they kind of wanted, but is just inevitably going to happen. Mid also suffering a little bit from no mana is Tally early on Victor. That can happen, but has got some bickies, so I think mid's just generally sustaining their way up and farming as you would expect. Top lane definitely is high variance, especially with that early solo kill, because we said this before, right? A bit of armor, a very happy Malphite. That is now a Malphite that is ahead of the mark here, not just steadily behind. And the Corrupting Potion, as you'd expect with Time Warp Tonic and Biscuits, and the Comet there, so just trying to keep out the damage, the amount of Q proxy you can get. Q actually a very high mana cost spell for a Malphite early, for good reason. It's insane, it's targeted and high damage. So going for these runes to kind of keep that sustained there is very crucial for top rune, and clearly comes up trumps. I don't think there's anything default rune-wise from the Jace side. You would presume he has got magic resistance in his resistance runes, and otherwise he's just looking to play from range, so the fact that he dies means a mistake was made.
Yeah, very different to the other variation, which I don't think would make sense. We have seen Phase Rush a few times, but maybe if you're getting run down by Malphite, yes, there's the unstoppable force, the all-in, and another solo kill. The man's got the claws out like he's Wolverine.
Yeah, look, he hit 6 first, and Jace unfortunately doesn't have a level 6 spike skimmy. It makes absolutely no difference. And lived that early kill that you would almost say is a bit unexpected becomes devastating, because now this Malphite is just GG strong, right? This is absolutely turning into an early top rune gap once again.
Really, when does it not? It's beautiful to watch, and we're blessed to be here to witness it. 4 members of Kanga round the first Drake. Get the crab. Arthur's going to reveal himself now, and he actually steals it away. That's crazy.
Chungy 6.
Oh, big flash away. Locks in place once again. There's the Glacial. There's the Shockwave. There's Lemus getting his first kill, and the first for Kanga too.
I think Arthur actually... I know he did flash super early. It was Lionel that followed that one up. So, I mean, definitely was looking for a bot play and found himself a Trundle and an Oriano. Manages to sneak away the Scuttle Crab with that smite. So that was nice, but was kind of just inevitably caught there with the way that the lanes were postured. There was no Tally to be seen because he was dealing with mid-wave Chiefs. I mean, hunting here is risky. If they get onto you, you have to dash away and be careful. But that's really big for Kanga Skimmy. They needed something. They were gifted it.
Certainly do, because we saw from the trading pattern before, when Draku goes in, he is running the aftershock compared to the Glacial of this Leona. His trades were working wonders in Chief's favor beforehand.
So for top lane, just to quickly hit back on that point, this matchup is doomed until the end of time. If you've gone for a Vamp Scepter as Jace, you're probably building into the Eclipse, but you've gone for the Vamp Scepter first. Your opponent has too much armor for lethality to be efficient. You've gone for an early Null Magic Mantle, so you've just been all done for us. Hang on.
Oh, we're spending more time in bot lane. Aggro's the root. Gets cleans a little bit early, but still, will it punish him? Ray's looking to receive the bulk of the damage. So we'll be able to still walk away.
Yeah, it was just a cleanse. He'll be perfectly fine. Nice little attempt, but realistically nothing doing from that one. Back to the important stuff, Skimmy. Top laners.
Yes.
Which is, I've never said that sentence out loud, so enjoy that one. Because Jace is behind, Jace stays behind. Because the tank is ahead, he stays ahead. And you're seeing it now.
He's 3-0.
A little bit too easy, Skimmy.
This Malphite literally is a carry. Oh, the Dawning Shadow.
Nah, not even close.
11 health? Is that
Yeah,
11 health?
it
Unreal.
was.
This guy is the min-max master.
Herald secured. Top lane soloed. Everything belonging to the Chiefs on the top side of the map. Vision, look at the vision they have in the blue buff quadrant of Kanga. Only just walking over ward after ward, trying to exist. It's a hard life. Hello.
Here we go. Bit of a biff in the jungle between both the junglers, in fact. Out goes the Pillar, but there is the stasis trap. A shockwave that really tickles him. It's not going to secure it. Only hits the smite, gets some life back, but they pick it up anyway. Tally beats his other half and gets the first kill as the victor. And these crabs just don't belong to Kanga.
No, they do not. Listen, only goes for the play, face checks the bush. He survives by using his ult, using that smite. They switch targets. It's just that easy for the Chiefs, right? They already had Chungy positioned, Shockwave used, kind of for a disengage, kind of for damage, but not really going to be anything meaningful. And it is super easy for them to switch targets like that. Draco able to hold himself back for just enough time to find the avenue of entry. And we'll see how this all starts again. Sinzao face checked via Trundle is definitely what you're after. And a good damage combo, but as you can see, Rel hits the W and the ult pulls Chungy into the mix. And there's a fragile mid laner with no flash. And lived. I mean, listen, that was close to a kill if he didn't have a Hex Drinker and a Vamp Scepter. Skippy? Serrated Dirk? Maybe. But the fact that he's gone for a Hex Drinker, top lane is over. I will see you next week to live. He's just going to do what he can.
The atomization, it hurts to look at, doesn't it? It's not a fun time. Really is not. I start to wonder really where the armor penetration is going to come from. If it is to be the Eclipse, that's one part. But from what we've seen, at least with the Fleet footwork variation of the center, it tends to go towards the Kraken Slayer rather than any kind of armor penetration as well. So,
yeah.
I mean, Cyrilda's Grudge, not really going to be part of the build, you'd imagine. Most likely going to be the Lord Dominic's, but it's going to be such a long time.
Yeah, those are distant thoughts, right?
Yeah.
And Malphite is currently too big. And I have to... It's a simple question, but the question is, how does Senna deal with Malphite? And I don't think there's an answer. Jace can't either. Orianna's Shockwave should not be used on the Malphite realistically if Topoon's playing correctly, right? Teleport flanks in the backline. It's pretty much Trundle. I think the way that you have to play this out is let the Malphite ultimate happen, let the Unstoppable Force hit, and either flash it, Trundle ult, and immediately burst him. I think that's like your only way that you'll ever realistically killing him. And if you're doing that, then a Jinx and a Victor are free hitting.
And that's the problem, right? If you're putting that much emphasis into a meatball, which is really what we were saying, this composition is Piper carry Victor Jinx with a bunch of meatballs, just to basically say, we're not peeling, we're just playing the game, but they're playing the game and some.
See if they win this, because it's a dive angle. I think we can all acknowledge that Hex Drinker just got popped at the worst possible time for him. If Liv stays for this next wave, he just gets Unstoppable Forced and dies. Even recalling at this turret is a flight hazard. You can see Only's hovering, so... That recall cancel, no Hex Drinker. You're expecting that you have to flash the ult. There's no other way to play this. Topoon can trade out.
Yeah, he
easy.
just ults away.
I mean, they're lucky that was a good pillar, Skibby. If that was a bad pillar, he just walks.
But look at the cost, Rusty. This is the problem. They've just given up all this map pressure by camping that lane just to ensure that Liv can even get the wave, can even reset. It's another Drake, and
you know
it's another gold lead.
This is the type of game where this Jace becomes a Smite Janna top and just stops playing top lane. Top's dead.
Oh, no.
You don't actually have permission to be a top laner in this matchup. They have put so many resources into just giving him an extra wave top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is sad.
Smite Janna top and competitive, and we don't seen it all.
Well,
Probably...
no, I mean, the Jace has to become that.
No, I know what you mean, but like, can you imagine if we went one step further, truly brought solo queue into competitive? Would be wild.
I mean, if Topoon keeps this supremacy going, I mean, what choices do you have, right? Why lane top when you can ignore him? That's all I'm saying. He's just that good that maybe the answer is to pick a support top lane and not exist. Right now, Liv's best option, AD support item, walk around the map, hit some turrets, throw some shock blasts out. He's farming decently, I'll give him that, but top lane is not real.
That one shock blast literally tickled him. It's done barely anything. Only is still in the area though. He's stolen away a red buff once again. There's the frozen ground, and out comes the pillar.
He walked.
And barely a fraction of his health really has moved. It's a real interesting conversation that's going to spawn in the next 10 minutes as to what itemization they'll have to really deal with this, because once we start grouping up for those mid-late transitions of Barons and whatnot, just how?
Yeah, just how is the entire question. Also, with all this time that Trundle's been spending top lane, really trying to keep it stable, Arthur, you would expect, starts to build a bit of a jungle CS advantage, a bit more objective control across the map as well. And this is real free time for the bottom lane of Chiefs, for the mid lane of Chiefs as well. And Tally's a scaling control mage, just like a Corki in certain ways. Wants to have his abilities evolved, wants to be able to hit full mythic items. And also ability haste, super important for Victor for prolonged teamfight skirmishes.
Sure.
Constant cues need to be used to have the most effective team fighting. And like we mentioned, Victor is a very self-sufficient type of control mage, right? Where Corki needs a bit more assistance or is more about the mobility. Victor wants to cycle those cues out, keep himself alive with the movement speed, with the gravity field as well. So, items, big deal. It's just nice that we're seeing a Victor, isn't it?
Oh, it really is. I mean, after all the asking of why is the rest of the world playing it, but we don't, we get to see what it looks like back on the home shore once again. Big emphasis top side. There's the bouncy castle. 3 members surprise Dragku, who locks in place the Magnet Storm, but then cops a solar flare to the head. Down to the bot lane, no. Tapoon's had enough of playing with the Jace, and instead
He's got flash.
he wants to go for Lemus instead. Not going to find it, but that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, the Shroud duration just a little bit too long there. Lemus is going to heal and get himself out. A flash Q from a Malphite maybe is enough to chase him down, but that Shroud pretty bloody strong. So, trade obviously there from the Chiefs. You can see they take the mid lane turret. Herald still in hand if they want to break bottom as well, which is the most likely thing you would expect. Breaking bottom opens up the Malphite onto the map completely for a lot of different flank angles, and suddenly you've got a very difficult team to deal with in the Chiefs. But I will say, all of the efforts of Only does put himself a little bit behind, but the team is still farming, right? The team's still getting those items. The center keeps flash after the Malphite ultimate was used. They still have tools.
Yeah. They'll need a few more, though. Certainly will need a few more to try and find the answers.
Cloudy on the Rift today, isn't it?
Oh, he is. Wish that was like that in real life.
The slight zoom here.
Instead, it's the furnace. I am blessed, though, by AC. Maybe one day I can figure out how we can get used to with that, too.
And one thing that we did talk about as well from Champs League is options for Trundle. So let's keep in mind that Dragku did still go for the Aftershock. He didn't go for the Glacial.
Yep.
Pretty juicy ult target for Only. Malphite, obviously the more resistances he has, the more you could steal. So copium, but that is something.
Well, they've picked up both Heralds, and I have seen this play happen literally every single game. How does it keep working? That is my question. They get a Herald, they get a Tapoon's lane, and just 2 turrets fall on down. It is literally, I'd imagine, you look at Chief's playbook, page 1, Herald and win.
Page 2, look at page 1.
True.
30 HP, oh, he's
They're going to get a
teleporting.
third charge. Oh, illegal. That should not be happening, and now Arthur might pay the price for it. It's the Crescent Guard a little bit too late, but I think he might have always been dying for that one. Chongi comes in with a late TP. Now they're going to lose mid for that too.
Yeah, they're losing turrets left, right, and center. The charge going off just slightly mistimed by Liv there with his Gate Shock Blast. Hello!
Face check! Look at the damage! He shockwaved the Malphite. It's sacrilege. And he's now 3-0-1. Don't ever face check where there's no wards to be found, and that's an important lesson learned here today.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, Oriana's not a champion that wants to be hitting a flank. Maybe chuck your ball into the bush if you're thinking about it, but they stopped thinking about Tapoon for just a second. Recall's going to be confirmed there as well for the teleporting member of the Chiefs. And this basically does confirm the Drake. However, the Chiefs don't have vision, so they're not actually aware that this is being conceded yet. So they might just wait for Arthur, might just wait for Tapoon to get into the area before they do go for that one. And that last little skirmish skimmy kind of just cements the big issue that Kanga are facing. And that is that you may find the Malphite, you may be able to take out the Xin Zhao, but you still have to deal with a Jinx, with a Victor. They both just tear that team fight apart. Summoners still easily in hand for them. And they are a bit of an issue.
Yeah, they certainly are. So much map control right now, and you're really hoping that perhaps these Hextech gates can find some form of flanking angle that allows them to catch Chiefs off guard to try and navigate past these terrifying meatballs, that you can get a window, an opportunity to punish maybe a flash being down, a misposition carry for a big juicy shutdown bounty. But right now they're playing pretty smart on the money, picking at scraps. Won't find Draku.
You know, they keep getting Draku by himself though. Does need to be a little bit more careful. Rel's one of those champs that you definitely want allies nearby. Now the objectives kind of shift to just the Baron as it stands. So that makes it very one-dimensional for both teams when it comes to vision, when it comes to setup. That makes it very easy for the side of the Chiefs as they've found Chungy, they've found a turret, they have found an opportunity if he stays. Chungy has to respect.
Yeah, he certainly does. He doesn't have a flash, he has no stopwatch.
Man, Jace is jungling during this. There's no bot pressure. Jace with the teleport wants to be probably breaking that turret. Lionel ults and Jace stays on the map, Skimmy. They're not going to pressure a side lane. They're kind of stepping up, trying to 5v5. I guess they are terrified the Baron's being done.
Feels like a bit of an awkward set of circumstances. Yeah, it feels like they're calling their bluff at this stage. Shock Blast goes out. That's nice damage on Defree. But the map pressure, Chiefs don't really feel threatened to do anything.
The amount of minions that both teams are just missing in bottom lane is painful. What's the time on the clock that Jace grouped? Because honestly, I think I'm going to start counting the minutes. He's doing support chatter. Top's not real. Why 1v1 when you can group? Except that they have a Malphite that's 3-0 doing the same, so it's winning.
Yeah, it seems to be working so far. Shock Blast won't connect. Out comes the TP flank. Draku jumps in with a two-man Magnustorm onto the bot lane here of Kanga, and they lock them down with that unstoppable force again. Both the tanks pick up the kills. Tally joins in on the action. They say that's 3 down. That's a Baron angle.
I mean, that's the team fight, right? We spoke about this. Baron is the only thing on the map that is a present objective that the Chiefs would be looking towards. All of the outers are broken. Vision control belongs to them. It did cost Draku a fair amount of health, but he's able to reset, get back on the map, and they protect the vision that they put down before. And so, they get the fight, they get the Baron, they're able to reset with this Baron buff. We'll see it again, because it is Tally that gets caught, you think, by only. Remember that Leona has no ultimate, because they just kind of threw it at Draku before, but he's still full health back on the map. So timing, not good for Kanga for the face check. It's not a good timing to actually find Tally and fight him either. Big mistake there from the Kanga camp. And so Chiefs, well and truly in the driver's seat.
And look how good the timing is of this Baron leading into the next Drake. It's going to fall off. You can disengage away. You've most likely pressured at least 2 inhibitors based on how they're currently posturing. And then you work your way to a soul point.
And you know, I'm not here to fault Liv. Topoon is definitely just too good, full stop, right? Best player in the league as of today is probably something that I think no one would contest. The level 4 solo, though, is a little bit rough. I don't think I've seen many Malphite matchups go this one-sided this fast. I guess it brings into question the blue side Jace pick, when maybe it is more of a red side option.
They found Topoon. 4 members onto the Beefcake himself. He's down to 50%. He's actually just going to die. Subjugate putting in so much work there. And it is himself actually only that picks up the shutdown.
Yeah, he chose to not use the ultimate once the pillar came down, perhaps disrespecting. But the CC chain was perfect from Kanga. The Subjugate, like you mentioned, takes away all of those resistances. And, I mean, that's a pick. The cost was still the bot lane inhibitor turret being confirmed, and Chiefs still poised to fight at the Dragon. 15 seconds on Topoon with 20 on the Drake. He'll get here. Hello, Lionel.
Lionel in a very advanced position. Not Not the best champions to really punish him with. Alpha not interested. But they got the inside track. And that's the Dragon that's certainly looking to be the Chiefs.
Only the third of the game, so necessity to contest it all across definitely not there. Kanga should definitely be giving that one away. Playing cooldowns, getting gold, that really is the name of the game. If you were Kanga's side, it's the shutdown gameplay that you're going to start to see from them. So Tally has the biggest shutdown on Summoner's Rift, and if he's ever caught alone in a side lane or just by himself mid, then you're expecting the Leona ult immediately.
Yeah. He's opted for the Banshee's Veil second as well. So doesn't want to fall victim to a pesky shockwave or even a shock blast perhaps. Wants to keep himself topped up and healthy, knowing how fragile their comp is if there is that one slight misstep. The Baron, with literally 1 second left, will get itself into the base and bot lane inhibitor will fall. Now going towards mid, everybody coming together as a full 5v5. It looks to be done, a second confirmed, but will this pillar change that?
Inhibitor does eventually go down. I think they kind of buy a little space for Dragu there to try and Hex Flash over the wall. Maybe an angle presents itself. But the bait didn't actually turn into anything. And all of the Chiefs now, I believe, about to reset. You've got a red buff waiting for Raze as well after that Scuttle Crab. Only going to have a look at him, but he's got Topu nearby, so careful.
He might just turn around. He's just going to turn around. Oh, good flash. Dodges Tapoon. Could have just died in the global.
And it was cute from Only, right? That was definitely punishing Raze out of position, but he still had his teammates nearby. It wasn't a full reset. I don't think Topoon had a crazy amount of reasons to actually base. He'd kind of freshly died and reset onto the map. So he was just hovering, and it is just a stopwatch that he'll purchase. Red buff will be confirmed after those resets. Deploy is just going to be top side of the map right now, as it is the last standing inhibitor to take. Very standard stuff from the Chiefs as of present, and no reason to change that, because it's just working.
Certainly is. Back onto the map we go. Shadow Flame also confirms there's just so much damage coming out from this Vector now. No doubt a few of those augments upgraded as well. Spells are going to be packing a punch, and it's just methodical League of Legends. Straight to top side we go. Lived will have the TP, but he's trimming bot wave right now, working his way to try and claim, you know, a form of turret bounty. He's going to go for the long way home instead, hit the recall. And this is looking, Rusty, like a potential team fight.
I mean, it's going to have to be. Topoon's got too good of a flank for Kanga to do nothing as well. I don't know if it's possible to go silently into the night. They're looking, yeah, the owner ult just misses.
Has the flash. Banshees was down, so good moment there from Lionel to try and find that pick.
Yeah, good timing because the waves aren't synchronized at all. You've got the next wave coming in top. Topoon can clear this by himself realistically and just stand menacingly on a flank if he wants, but...
Oh,
wow, okay.
I respect that. Lemus being very aggressive trying to find him. Unlucky not to hit.
Yeah, but now he has no flash into a Malphite.
And it's so risky because this spawns a whole conversation. You make those flashy plays to try and win or try and get yourself back in, but if it fails, now you're terrified.
The waiting game is all the Chiefs were playing, though, in reality. You've got supers that are pushing in bottom. And so it was a case of just clearing mid for Kanga and then staunching as much as possible. They get away with it. They buy some time with it. But now Jace is on the map. He's showing bottom, and opportunities start to creep more and more into the hands of the Chiefs. Agency given more and more to them from just the supers that are spawning. Kanga teleporting. Chiefs 100% hunting.
They've spotted him. Good pillar. Zap just out of range there from Lionel. But Liv has to peel away from the mainstay. Has to clear out bot lane. And it's those inhibs still down for at least another 90 seconds. They've got to weather the storm just a fraction longer, but Baron is up and a soul point to take two. And the Chiefs say now time to go. They get one kill and Chungy's dead. The Super Mega Death Rocket doesn't find its mark, but they have found a second. And Raze will handily get a double.
Easy double. Liv is going to just poke them, but you could see that did literally 0 damage. Well and truly struggling in this one, and Chiefs just going to punch down the front door with how strong they are, except for Tally, who wants to bring the minions to make sure they have enough.
Draku flashing on forward. They want to get more kills, pad the KDA, and make it look good on the scoreboard. It certainly does look good because at 29 minutes, fast approaching, Chiefs are on for a very strong closing to week 2. They're going to finish things here 4-0. And really, the question everyone's asking now is, who can stop them?
Definitely not Kanga today, Skimmy. Pretty clean victory from the Chiefs overall. Not a lot to fault from them. Topoon is an absolute monster in top lane. Kanga tried. There was definitely moments, right? They had the strat from level 1. They steal red. They protect their own red. They try and give only some agency, but quite simply, top lane got solo killed, and that completely changed the pathing and strategy that was required by only.
Yeah.
Because if he didn't go top really didn't exist, and top would be coming to him then, right? And you don't want that Malphite coming to you. And so in an attempt to find stability, it just buys a little bit too much time for that Victor Jix composition to hit those team fights. And I mean, it was a good comp from Chiefs, good draft from Chiefs, and good execution overall.
Yeah, but Riesel staffed elsewhere, as you say, Victor. And the Jinx certainly popped off. They did what Arcane Netflix has shown us, haven't they, Mac? They're good in the characters, they're good in the show, and they're actually really good in the game too. Who would have known?
Yeah, Hextech Drakes, they're pretty fun, especially how quickly you can get back out onto the Rift with those little old teleporters. Now, something that the admins, that the guys on the back end have told me is that Lemus only had 72 souls at the end of the game. So he was heavily behind, and that was very unfortunate because you could see that he really wanted to jump on in. He really wanted to be more involved in a lot of those fights, but he just didn't have the damage. He just didn't have what it took to get the job done. Someone that did, though, was Topoon. Man was just a nuisance for Liv from the get-go. Popping 6, taking fights, and he was ahead for so long, pushing every advantage, knew exactly what he had to do to keep that advantage, and he was popping TPs as well. Rusty, I remember last week you were telling me, if anyone pops a teleport at about that 13-minute mark, you're a bloody blooming idiot. And Topoon did it at 13 minutes and 14 seconds just to make sure he could get another wave.
I mean, he was far enough ahead, it honestly doesn't matter, right? But
very true.
Yes, it is extremely inefficient to teleport just before the 14-minute mark because it switches over to be 120 seconds less. There's 2 minutes less on being able to join your team, which times for objectives nicely, but
yeah,
nevertheless, I mean, if that's where we're going, Mac is our 1 point of faulting at the top laner of the Chiefs. What more could you say, right? That kind of sums up just how good they were.
Exactly. So, min-maxing is something that we all love to point out, but look, you can also point out many things that he did right this game. Lived, he had places to be. I heard that there was like a new episode of Attack on Titan. He probably did as well, and was like, you know what, guys, come on, let's just speed this one up. We've got places to be. A bit of anime to watch, you know, Skimmy?
I don't know. I'm so shocked that the Malphite tank has done the most damage. This is phenomenal. What a performance, but yeah, Chungy...
2.5k.
Only a fraction more than a Leona. That feels rough. I mean, we saw a few of those shockwaves go out, right? And they kind of just went, that's more of a hindrance. It's more of annoying. I want to be here. Why are you taking me there? Yeah, it's... Tough time to be a mid laner.
Someone else we need to talk about as well is Tally finally picking the Victor that has been opened for every game this split. It hasn't been banned yet, and that is the first time we've seen it here in the LCO for the year. So you got what you asked for with those key picks earlier, Rusty, and it looked pretty good as well. I think he went Deathless. He might have fallen at one point, but I don't know if he ever gave that bounty across.
Just Deathless, yeah.
I think it was Deathless, yeah.
Pretty sure he didn't die through the whole game. I mean, you can't fault
Clean
him,
game.
right? Played solid League of Legends. We said it'd be Tally. We said it'd be Victor. And
Yep.
managed to get both.
And he did so much work there from mid, and Kitty has him to have a chat to as well. How you doing, Kitty?
Doing great in this weather, and I'm sure Tally is too, so let's hop into it. Hey Tally, you just picked Victor. You are the first player to pick Victor in the new LCO split. I also call you practicing a lot of Victor in solo queue. Why are you playing so much Victor and no one else?
Well, I think everyone knows that like Corky is obviously the best like mid laner right now. Like he's just a really solid pick, and I think that now that everyone's picked up on it, like he's pretty much perma-banned every game. So like, I think Victor is like the next best thing. Like he pretty much has no bad matchups, and like as a champion, he like covers pretty much everything you need from a mid laner. So I think that like, I think other teams will start picking up on the Prio as well, and like that's why I've been playing him so much.
Yeah, and talking about next week, you guys have a huge match going up against Peace, and that means one of your win streak will have to end. Do you have anything to say to Peace before you end their perfect run?
I mean, thanks for looking after me last year, guys. But I gotta do you dirty this time. I gotta end your win streak.
You know, good luck to both of you, and time for our Chinese New Year pop quiz. So, Tally,
Oh no.
how many animals make up the Chinese zodiac?
Ooh. Can I go 12?
Ooh! Well, yes, it is 12 actually. Congrats on getting a win. I'm
Oh,
getting
nice.
it
Okay,
right.
what
Did
do
you
I
guess or... Oh,
Okay, I
you
thought-
win
I
this
was just
thumbs
guessing-
up.
Oh, okay, I'll take that. Thank you.
Well, I'm assuming you guessed. That was a very nice guess. Well, thank you for the interview, Tally, and have a good night.
Thank you very much.
I think he got that wrong, though, because I heard it was 13. Praetor told me that there was a goose on that calendar, Kitty. Is there not?
Well, now apparently there is 13, so I guess Tally's wrong.
Yeah, years of tradition completely out the window because we're adding the goose in. Let's go. Now, that was a great interview as well. Good to hear from Tally that he has been grinding on the Victor and it's been working out. So hopefully we get to see a bit more from him going forward. But again, undefeated still, 4-0 so far in the LCO for Split 1. Chiefs doing work. Vulcan just absolutely, not Vulcan, sorry, Tapoon. Looking at my notes here from last game. Tapoon absolutely destroying up in top lane. Man is... I don't know who's going to be able to stop him because he's just gapped every single person he has gone near in that top lane so far, Skimmy.
Yeah, it does beg the question, though, like Rusty mentioned, if we're just going to have a bit of a meta flip happen in O specifically to try and counter him, right? Because there was a time last year where it wasn't a case of players wanting to, it was more a case of the meta felt like you could, where you had double support in the bot lane and then China topside as well. You'd have games where I remember even Tapoon was playing like Soraka, for instance. So you had these games where it was all about the AD carry, them popping off. You give them every resource under the sun and they'll deliver. And maybe the meta will change that in that regard. I mean, it's going to be a long year, right? But at the moment, he's living in Wonderland. This is his playground, and we're just on the outskirts watching.
Yep, and he is also the player of the game. I don't think there is any surprises. Man was just gapping it up in top, doing so much work, a whole lot of solo kills, but also 75% of the kill participation. He hit some cracking ults throughout that match as well. There was moments where I was like, oh, is this an angle for Kanga? And then he just jumped across the wall and just completely destroy, or at least set up for the rest of the players on the team to follow up, right, Rusty?
Yeah, and listen, he probably single-handedly ruined the kill participation stats on everyone else on his team because he just kept solo killing.
Yep.
So I don't know what they're looking like for everyone else. I'm going to say real low, given that he was a part of 75 of them, at least 2 were solo kills, but incredibly well played by Topu.
He's the stats man. He wants to be the one that's in charge. Now, of course, that brings us a little bit closer to the break. But before we jump into the break, you guys have apparently sent in some content. So let's have a look at another highlight that's been shot into us. What do we got this time? Skimmy, you were rubbing your hands together. Who's this?
I have no idea, but I'm just excited for content. Here we go. A bit of an echo play. Jumps on through. The Herald does its work. Okay. Knocks him out. Gets a shutdown. Forget about the turret. I'm coming over for a second kill. A flash, a dash, a double. There it is. That's looking quite clean. Got the blue buff still. Looking ever so pop off. Oh, he's done him dirty with the ult.
Huge.
That's a drag back. So now he's on a triple. We play for a penta here. There's a quaddie.
To teleport for that one.
Where's the penta? Oh, no. There is no penta. It's a doomed day. We've seen it happen in a game. Now we're seeing it in a highlight. This is nice.
Yeah, pretty clean little play, all things considered. A man just trying to take that tower down and not letting anyone bloody stop him. I think I see Ducky there as well. Isn't he like a League of Legends fanatic or something? I don't know, but he got dumpstered. So Ducky, if you're out there, I'm glad you got in this clip.
Is it that Ducky?
It might be. His name was Ducky. I'm just going to say it is Ducky.
I hope it was.
He's probably only got one Y, and he's like, no, that man has 3 Ys. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. Either way, if you guys want to make sure you have all the good content, you don't miss anything, make sure you follow us on Twitch. Make sure that you smack that follow button, and you too will never miss a bloody game here on the LCO. But of course, we've got a third game to get to, and to get there, we've got to go through another break. It's going to be Peace up against Order, the banger for the day, coming up just after this.
It's 3-0 doing the same, so it's winning. Yeah, it seems to be working so far. Shot blast won't connect. Out comes the TP flank. Draco jumps in with a two-man Magnustorm onto the bot lane here. Off Kanga, and they lock them down with that unstoppable force again. Both the tanks pick up the kills. 3 seconds. They've got to weather the storm just a fraction longer, but Baron is up, and a soul point to